Who's graduating in the spring? I'm signing a petition if I want to join it. I want to walk just.
I'm not walking. I'm not walking. All right, maybe.
Just sign it for me, please. I just want my kids.
What's the petition?
So we can walk.
You can walk whenever you want, man. I don't know why you gotta get 50 and walk.
There's sidewalks over the place.
Yeah.
Have a day, man. Have a day.
You might go.
I always got this one.
If it doesn't work, we'll just have our own rules.
I'll buy you a treadmill.
We just, everybody wants up out here in front of the library and do your own.
Well, that's what she was saying. She said she would do that with just each individual class. If you were just engineering, do it over. You can take your mask down for a second. Then you get Sorry.
I'm leaving.
I just wanted to see my little girl walk daddy walk.
You don't remember that.
So it sounds so little, you know what I mean? That somebody's gonna feel sorry for that. You're like, okay, we're gonna have senior night at the soccer field, so we can at least do it for this old guy.
Okay guys, today we will keep working on our mapping and presentation, symbology, and also continuing using our catalog and our map together. And also we're gonna learn something new today. It's how to create some search queries and how to select stuff by query. Teach you how to do it. And it's very useful and powerful tool on GIS and will help us create our map. They're not going to do any Word documents. It's going to be one PDF map. And this PDF map will include different frames, different data frames, and every data frame will include something. So we're going to work together. And hopefully, I won't take much of your time, guys. So let's start directly with ARC catalog. So in ArcGIS, we're going to start with ARC catalog. And we're going to use our previous data set. There's no data set here, so this is one of the few classes that we won't have a new data set. So again, if you don't have the data set, download it from your eCampus and try to build the same folder where our catalog can recognize. And then just to remind you, let's define and remember the shapes that we have. So if you remember, in our previous exercise, we had under the data folder, we had two things. We had this guy here, which was a world geodatabase, with a number of feature classes under it. 2 line feature classes. Sorry, 1 line feature class, 2 polygon feature classes, and 1 point feature classes. We had cities, that one which had the gratitude, and the countries, and also the background with the oceans and rivers. And we had something by itself for US cities. We had a shape file that just included some of the city's data of cities. If you remember last time, we talked a little about pollution. So some of these data sets had pollution, but all the data had some kind of information about population. And we're going to play on this today. How can we now represent population in a visual way using some colors? We're going to use types of colors. I'm going to continue working with these coloring shapes of data. We're going to color data. That's what we're doing today. I'm also going to do some search. So let's start by A. I don't want to take much of your time. We're experts now. So we now have, this is what we have in our catalog. In our map, we're going to create a new map. So within our catalog, you can directly open ArcMap by clicking on the blue global icon here that shows me this is ArcMap. So now I have our catalog and ArcMap side by side. I can put it side by side in the window, but I'll do that when I want to copy the data. So in ArcMap, let's do the following. First of all, let's create a new file. So in ArcMap, looking to ArcMap here, I'm going to create a brand new file. So these are the different options. Let me make it bigger here. So under new maps, I'm going to create a blank new map. And let me make it now bigger. Once I copy the data, I will put it side by side. So ArcMap, let's do the following. Let's first fix our layout. If you go to layout, so guys, look here at the layout. We haven't yet put any data. This is my layout. Usually by default, it's a letter page in portrait. If you want to change that into landscape, do that. Since we're going to have more than one frame, let's make it a little bit bigger. So instead of letter, I use here legal. You can use any type of paper you like. Let's see what are the options of paper we have. So in your layout, this is the layout, the printout part. So in your layout, let's just go here and under page and print setup, let's change the size into something a little bit more wide here. So probably let's do this one here. So it's a longer page. I think this is the legal, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not very familiar with the types of paper. I know letter, there's legal, there's other double, I guess. So just need something that's taller than 11 inches. This page here is 8.5 times 11. I want to make it something longer. So choose one longer, 8.5 times 11. We're going to make it bigger than 8.5 as well. Doesn't matter, because you're going to print that as PDF anyways. I'm going to see it as a PDF. So you want it longer because we're going to put more than one frame together. Here I'm trying to show you guys that now you're going to do some printing some maps. You don't have to always just bind it by the letter size you have. You can create, especially if you're printing out a big poster with a big map, you can now figure out which type of page size you want. So let me see here what pages do I have. Yeah, probably the one I've chosen here is the best, 8.5 times 14. So if this is the one you like, let me just put this over here. Then I will keep it portrait. So keep it portrait, guys. And click OK. So now I have a little bit longer page. Why? Because this is what I want you to do. In a portrait legal paper layout, insert additional 4 data frames. We're going to create 5 data frames in total. We have one already. You can see it. Can you guys add to your page 4 more data frames? I'll do that with you. So I'm going to take this guy here, move it up, fix the size a little bit, and let's insert a bunch of more data frames. I haven't put any data yet. So that's the second data frame. Let's make this one a little bit smaller because we're going to need some of these. Let's add another one. And later on, we're going to change the names. Okay, very roughly, I picked my 5 data frames, and it's going to be a little tight. That doesn't matter. We just played with the software, trying to figure out how it works and how it can add as much information and data just on page. This will be a breeze for me to mark those. I'm going to just mark the 5 frames, and then it will take me no time to mark those. Okay, so here we have additional 4 frames. Make sure all 5 frames have the same size roughly. We're going to fix that later on. You'll need to change the frame names accordingly. So once we finish now working, don't worry about changing the names right now, because one by one we're going to change the names. So let's now do the first frame. So the first frame, can we rename it to Asia population? So I'm going to do some Asia population for the first frame. Notice here, there is no data yet. So here I'm going to go to my first frame, and I'm going to change the name to Asia population. Okay, and notice in my case, the active frame, the one with the bold font, is new data frame 2. So make sure which one is active. The active means the one you're working with. So now let's make sure that this one is the active frame by just activating it. So I right click and activate, and now Asia population is the active one. Am I losing anyone here? Okay, now let's add the data.
How did you activate?
Right click on the frame name, and you're going to find activate in the menu. Okay, guys? Still can do it? Again, right click on the name of the frame. The name of the frame in the table of contents. The name of the frame. And change the name into Asia population. And now let's add some layers. How do I add layers to make it easy for me, especially in the exam? I want to do it fast. I do the following. I take this guy and I throw it to the side, and take this guy, have it on the other side. So I have both programs on my side of the screen, which will make it very easy for me to copy or just throw whatever layers I want and put it in the layer, in the data frame I want. So now I have, let's put everything. Later on we can delete if you don't want it. So I'm going to put here my whole worldview database. I'm going to take the background and throw it here. Cities, countries, lat long.
Do you want us to put that on Asia?
Well, I put it in another one, but I'll fix that. You're just loading your data in one of the frames. I loaded just one this new data frame 2. Now I want it under Asia, but you're asking me, how can I do it? To remind you what we did last week, is you copy and paste. Or you want to put it again from catalog, you can do that. It's data, it's showing the same data. It's pointing to the same data from a different frame. So I'll do this just to show you another way to do it. I'm going to take this background and copy and go here and paste layer. Again, cities, copy, go here, paste layers, countries, copy, go here, and paste layers, that long, copy, Asia population, paste layers, and finally, will I need US cities? Probably not, so I'm going to ignore US cities for now, because it says Asia, and US cities has nothing to do with Asia, right? So I'm going to ignore this one. So now, let's expand it again to see what I have. So yeah, I see some stuff now working. Well, not everything is looking good. So let's make sure that countries is above background and that long cities. So now I have my first one ready to start working with. So this is my first Asia population. Now let's work with it. Add layers, we did that from our catalog. And here comes the first thing you want to do. Using symbology, we want to classify countries according to the population, explore several ways of quantification and color coding, and create 10 equal intervals. Let me show what I mean here. Don't worry about the new wordings. It's going to be so easy. First thing, you never work with your data in this layout. Layout is for presentation and printing out. If you want to add stuff to your map. When you want to work with your data, especially when you want to do representation, you directly go to your data view, which is this guy here. That's my data view. And it's going to show your active frame. If you have another active frame, it's going to show nothing. The active frame here, and you notice here, by default, it gave different colors for my countries, we're going to change that. So let's first work with the background. Let's make it light blue. So for me, it's green. It doesn't show here green. So I'm going to go here to the background. All I have to do is just click here and create a nice blue background for the oceans. Should be the oceans. So let's create first a color for the oceans. If you want to create an exact ocean, probably you might just make a search. Maybe there is an ocean there. No. So just click on blue. So now I have the countries, and here is the thing I want to do. I want to now not to just look at the countries as colors that has no meaning. We want now to categorize these countries based upon population. Let's figure out where the population is first. What is the table? In the table, what is the field that has population? And let's write it down. And then now use the symbology to create some colors and categories for this population. So let's first look at the table here. So I'm going to go to countries and right click. I'm going to open my attribute table. Let's expand the table just to figure out what does it look like. So here the table has some numbers, and then the shape, the polygon, different polygons. Then the country, 3-letter and 2-letter, different countries, and then the country name, and then the official name, another name. So you might find some of these fields repetitive. Don't worry, just keep going on. So I have here long name, short name, and lots of names. So don't worry about this. And then location, status, and then we have population 2007, square kilometers, square mile, land square mile, color map. Sometimes you do not understand what's this field about. And here comes the importance of having metadata to figure out what's this data. What the guy who put this data, what did he mean? So here we're dealing with other researchers and other engineers, other geographics, who sometimes put letters you don't understand what's that. Here comes the importance of metadata. Sometimes you put your own data and then forget what's that. So here, probably population 2007 will be the one we'll be using. Let's just continue looking. So we have also population 2014. Probably might use this. So just by looking at the data, which I did not create myself, we collect this data from libraries, from other researchers, from consulting companies. Sometimes again, we don't understand what's this data. We try to figure out here, what are these field names telling me? So probably this one here, country IPC, CDC, population, it looks like population 2014. Which is probably better than 2007. Let's keep just going. And then probably we have here some data about HIV. So probably the person who collected the data was collecting something about HIV/AIDS. So data about the spread maybe or deaths from HIV/AIDS. So let's go here. And then we have here PM10. I don't know PM10, that's for pollution, the one we did create maps before. And then shape length and shape area. This is created by GIS once you create the columns. Give you some information about the length and area. We will do that when we create our data from scratch. So we're going to use now the population. So let's close this. We already knew what we want. Now you need to create a symbology. Let's look at the symbology tab and how we create different symbologies of colors that gives you different populations based on the criteria I asked you to do. So I'm going to go here, right click, and properties for countries. I'm using here the countries. Taking a little bit longer than usual. I don't know why. This. So you're going to find here among the tabs, you're going to find a tab, very famous tab called Symbology. And we have different ways to symbolize your features, points, lines, or polygons. On the right here, you're going to show either single symbol, like we have just one color for everything. Categories we did before, a couple labs before, when we gave different country a color, category. Or what we'll be doing right now, which is quantities of data, quantities of population. And we're going to now create a symbology of these quantities. So click on quantities, and there are also chart and multiple attributes. So click on quantities, and now we can now start creating the data. We're now working with the data in a symbolized way. You see this data when they wanted to put hotspots for COVID-19, highest countries of anything, lowest countries. So we have now maps that we now want to represent any type of data you get in a beautiful way that shows, just by looking at the map, where is the hotspot, and create some kind of categories of data. This is the new thing we're doing today. So there are different ways to create your categorization, meaning you have now population. Let's say population starts from 1,000 for an island in the Pacific up to China, which are billions. So you want now to categorize, find some ranges, intervals, where you put some countries in different colors. And I put here 10 different categories. How will we do this? Let's first define what we need to do here. So first of all, we have here graduated colors. We can put it as colors. Number two, we can put here symbols, like a red dot that would be bigger if you have a bigger number. Or something called proportional symbols. Also, we use this in polygons. We have different ways to do it. We're going to get back just to the regular graduated colors. And it's going to ask you, okay, what fields do you want? What field you want to now represent in your data? So you have a table with tens of fields. You want to pick one of them that we will categorize and color. So let's choose the one that remember the one that we've chosen here. So if you click here, you're going to find all these categories. Let's go here to population. I think it was this one here. Population 2014. The word normalization, sometimes when you want to divide it by some value or another value in your table. So normalization here is like density. Population divided by area, it will give you density. So you can even calculate the density here, not only population. Population per square mile, or per square kilometer. So you can use normalization. I'm not doing this now, but we probably going to do it in the next few weeks. Then comes the important part here on the right. This will open once you start choosing which field you want to start presenting the data. And it's going to ask you, how do you want to classify? By default, we have something called natural breaks by a researcher or a guy who created this kind of statistical analysis called GIS. If you want to see what GIS is, Just click on classify. This is how he did it. The data is concentrated between this number and that number. So he created some kind of equal statistical ranges. By default, it's 5. Let's do it equal with 10. So what do you mean by that? So the method here is by default natural breaks. And again, in another lab, we're going to do more of that. Let's just go ahead and change it into equal intervals. So now you can see the problem with equal intervals is that some countries will have 0. Got my point here now? So I'm going to change my own requirement here, and let's keep it the default, the natural, the Jenks one, because he's going to focus on this part here, not equal intervals. And keep, just before you choose this, keep looking at different options we have. So first of all, let's make 10 classes. And let's see the different parts. So manual, I can do it manually. I can move whatever ranges I want, that's manual. I can have a defined interval, quantiles, and that's also, you know what, let's keep it as quantile. This will give me the best representative of data population and in 10 different intervals. Let's figure out what other we have. Natural breaks, this is the default one. Some kind of what we call here geometric interval. You can see it goes from bigger to small, but again, we have some intervals of 0, which will not be very representative. And this is how, guys, political parties treat the data. You can make the data serve your own cause. Yeah, it's so big here, but it's so small here. We did a great job, right? So we can have here different, this is how we tweak the data. We pick intervals that will make us look good. So you can choose whatever interval you like. Let me show what else we have. Standard deviation. So if you not serious statistics, again, we have here intervals that don't show anything. So let's keep it either Jinx or the quantiles. Quantiles is just you get the data. You have 10 intervals, you divide by 10 quantiles, and each of them you divide them have the same value. So once you're done here, click OK. And make sure it's 10 classes. And then this comes to you guys based on your own taste. The default I think is brown. So you have brown. Click on this ramp and choose whatever ramp you like. You might find one color with different shades. 2 colors like red and blue shows the hot and cold and shows the biggest and smallest. Here you're free to choose the ramp you like. Okay? Before you click OK, you can just click apply and have a look at your map. See now the population, how it is. Seems the data has something wrong. I just keep looking at China. Definitely China, there's something wrong in my data. So let's change the field to something that will show China and India having the highest population growth. So my data here is wrong.
If you change your data to, because what you had on was the population, not the population percentage.
Okay.
But there's also the population for.
Awesome. Okay. Okay. So all you have to do is just go ahead and change the field to population. I have 2015 and I have predicted 2025. I'll do this one as well. Click apply. Okay. So yeah, now I see China, India, Brazil, US have the highest population. One thing you do, guys, turn off the points. We don't need the cities in the first map. So you can turn it off or you can delete it. It's up to you. I'm just going to turn it off. Now, second thing you want to do, zoom to Asia, the highest population, of course, with India and China having the highest numbers. In that frame, now it's your job, guys. I'm going to do it, but you can do it. You need to add the following. Add a title to this frame. Call it population distribution of Asian countries. add a decline, insert scale, and add a legend that illustrates the color coding of only population. So this is what we want to do. I want you to zoom to Asia. Do you know where Asia is, guys? So that's Asia. And now let's get back to our layout frames. Let's see how it looks like. My Zoom sharing thing keeps getting in my way. I'm sorry about this, guys. So this is how it looks like. If you want to make it bigger and then zoom in and out, let me zoom in and out here. And now you can start going to the insert. You can add a title. You can add neatline, arrow, scale, whatever I asked you in this exercise, you can go ahead and the most important thing for me is to add a legend. And this legend should show me now the representation of colors based on population of this structure. It's going to be a big because the numbers are crazy, I know that, but don't worry. Doesn't matter if the legend is small. I know you can zoom in the page, not in the map, by clicking on the zoom in the page here, and you can go here, and you can see now on the top of my page how does this small map of Asia look like. And again, you can add a title, you can add anything to your map.
From my mother, who taught me art.
How did you get the hot light to come out like that?
Okay, this will be your legend. You just need this application, right? So click on any one of these, it will take them out. Just this one, choose. Or another way to do it, get out of everything, by clicking here, and just add the context. And then it takes you step by step to create your legend. Okay guys, I'll give you a couple more minutes to finalize this before we move to the second frame. We're gonna do it frame by frame, guys, and this will be only one submission. It's the PDF of this map.
Actually, click on the box first. Click on the-
That's. Yeah.
Okay, guys, let's now move to the second frame. If you miss something, you have all the time at the end of the lab, and I'll go around and help you. Now let's move to the second frame. So that's question C. The second frame, let's rename it high population megacities and do the following. So first of all, we go to the second frame. Let's change the name, and before we change the name, let's make it the current. So activate this frame, and if you don't have the data, copy from the previous one and paste data, or again, take the data from your catalog. So let's rename it to high population mega cities. So I'm gonna get back to my data view so I can work with the data view. Looks messed up because layers are above each other. I'm gonna fix the data first, and then let's now create representation for megacities. I'm also gonna learn something else today. What I wrote here on the board, we learned two things. First one, just an intro to symbology, how to symbolize your data and present it in a map. And the second thing we're going to do today is something called queries. Queries is another important thing that we have in a GIS map or GIS database, is to search for something and find something. We have two ways to find things. Something called selection by attributes. You want to select an attribute, specific attribute, it's going to tell me where it is. Or selection by location, or spatial selection. For example, I want to ask you, what is the country neighboring Austria? Or the countries neighboring Austria? Or what's the country located inside another country? Or what's the city inside Chile? So we can do this. We can now create some kind of queries using what we call here selection. So let me show you how we do it. So first of all, let me fix my layers. Let me put here the points first. And then countries. And lat long above the everything here. So again, I have the same color. Let me change the background to blue. So let's see what we need to do now. Selection. Using select by attribute. You remember we did some selection before using the attribute table. I can see here when you see this blue table. We're going to do it differently now. We're going to search for something based on an attribute. So let me show you first what selection options do I have. Let me show you guys first what selection options I have. You're going to notice here in the main icon button, I have this guy here, select features. And if I click here, I can select by rectangle. What does it mean? If you just make a rectangle, it will select whatever the rectangle hits in the layer you want. So let's say I'm choosing the layer of countries. If I make a rectangle, It's going to choose the countries in this layer called rectangle. Or I can select by polygon, create a polygon, or select the polygon. I can select by something called lasso, circle, or line. So these are easy ways to do it visually. But I want to select by attribute. So using select by attribute, select all world cities that have population between 5 million and 30 million. So this button selects, and this is another button here. If I have a selection, I can remove the selection, this white button. I'm going to use this a lot as well. Also, you're going to find here a menu called selection. And the first two things here, select by attribute and select by location. Select by attributes, select by location. Click on select by attributes. And it's going to give me a calculator. And this calculator, I'm going to search for any attribute, value, or letter, or number I want. Here it's another way to search. If I want to search, for example, USA, the 3 letters USA. I can search where is this USA, and I can it will select the country that's called USA. Or if I search for Germany, I type Germany, and I'll show you now how can I select something that, or I select the world cities that have population between 5 million and 30 million. And now it's introduction of how to use this kind of calculator. This calculator is one query tool, very powerful, that we can use to search for something. Let me show you how. So first of all, we find here layers. So what layer you want to search at? I have in this highlighted frame 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers we have. I'm going to choose, since I want the cities that have population between a number and a number, I'm going to choose cities. So this guy here. And then these are the different fields. I'm going to use them in my calculator. Different fields. Look at the fields first, figure out the numbers, and then we can create this kind of query. So here I want the population. So let's say here population. I want the population. So double click. It's going to put it in the calculator here. I'm going to make a calculation, a query. So I want population that are between 5 million and 30 million. So 5 to 30. So it's greater than 5 and less than 30. So let's do this together. So I'm going to go here. I find some tools. So it's greater than population. Greater than. If I want to get some unique values for this field, sometimes the field has unique values. Here it's going to have numbers, lots of numbers. Let me click on unique values and show what I mean here. These are all the values of this field. Population of big cities around the world. I want to choose number between these. So I can choose a number, or just can I say here population greater than 5 million. And so I want this and. So I'm going to just double click on it. Sorry, click on and. Population, double click on it. Less than 20 million. 30 million, sorry. Let's apply, see if my numbers are right. Sometimes I mess up the numbers. Click apply.
You might have 0 at 30.
Yeah, you got 300,000.
You got 0.
Oh yeah, sorry. Here we go. Here we go. It's working. So now, once I click apply, I see some big cities around the world are highlighted in blue. If If you click on this white button here, so click OK. If you click on this white button here, it's going to clear the selection. So select the drum, you will clear it. This will clear the selection. It's a very powerful button as well. So these are the cities that have this value between 5 million and 30 million people living there. See how powerful the tool is? And you can do a lot. You can do a lot by just searching for something within this query calculator. Show only these cities. So now, remember when we did last week, create a new layer from the selected cities and turn off the original one. Create a layer from the selected cities. Now they're selected. Just 2 clicks. I'm going to create a layer from the selected cities, and now let's play with these cities. I'm going to do this with you. So what I did now, I created a layer from my selected cities. I turned off the original layer, and I renamed the new layer high population or high pop cities. You do it again. How did you do it? We did it last time. Come on. Okay, go. Where are these selected cities? Which layer? Right click on this layer. Go to selection. Create layer from selected features. Create no. You have to do it again, I guess. Now we need to create another beautiful map. Now we have the cities that have 5 to 30 million. It has better numbers. Now we need to classify these like we did before.
Got it.
And then you need to create a layer for these other cities. Okay, now we're going to add a new shape of the cities like we did before, but now with points instead of polygons. So let's do this. I'm going to go to the new layer that I created. Right click, properties. It's going to go directly to Symbology because of the last selection I did, last tab selection I did.
Sorry, what did you put on? Oh, say right. Say click on something.
Yeah, new one here, right click, properties. And now I'm going to go again to quantities. And instead of colors, we're going to create now either graduated symbols or proportional symbols. Let's do the proportional symbols. So the value here will be population. So let's do it again. Go to quantities, graduated symbols. By default, it went again into natural breaks, 5 classes. Let's make it 10 classes to make it more representative. So let's go here to 5 classes, 10 classes. And you can change the symbol size. It's by default from 4 to 18. You can change it. You can change the color. Yes? No, go to graduated symbols. If you want to change the color, you can change the color here from this template to another color. Let's change the color instead of green. Let's make it red. And now I have a map showing big cities and small cities. All these cities are between 25 to 30 million population from my data. So get back, guys, to layout view. Do it again. Create a title, add a neat line, whatever I wanted here. A neat line, scale, and another legend just showing the illustration of this new city coding that we did. So I'm going to go back here to my layout view. Now it's the second one here. Let me pan up to see what I have here. If you want to zoom in a little bit, because we just want to see these cities. Go back. So I have here these mega population cities, and let's add a title. Did I ask for a title? No. Add a neat line, a scale, and another legend. That's the most important thing for me, to insert a legend. And this legend will have nothing but only my high population cities. And next. Okay, guys, any questions? Is it fun? I hope you're having fun doing this lessons. The output is beautiful, huh? Okay, guys. Question D, I'm going to leave it for you to do because it should be a bunch of skills that you already created. I'm going to stop talking for like 10 minutes and tell you what I need to do here. You can make this frame a little bit smaller because it's going to be a key map. So in the third frame, rename it to key map, and you just need to show the countries. So show the whole world in one color in this key map, and just find a way to highlight Asian countries only. So here you want to highlight, select Asian countries maybe, do something to create a different color for Asian countries only. And this will be a key map to the first frame. So again, we need to show the whole world as one color, and just Asian countries to become your highlighted countries there. Give it like a bright color, and the other to be a pale color. So this is that. And this will be a key map for your first. So are there different ways now to highlight Asia? Well, I'll leave it to you. I'll leave it to your invention. So I'm just gonna pause for 10 minutes, give you some time to work on it, help each other. If somebody knew how to do it, just let us know. There are different ways to do it. And the next one would be really fun, 3 and 4. Don't forget, guys, to save as your map files or something more representative than default screen. So you can later on use it for other use.
I don't say a column for content.
There is no column for content. No. You're going to try to, this is something you found in the data, there is no content. You're going to try something more visual here. Start by table. Can I select by something else? Can I start doing more type of selections? Yes. Can I use select by table? Well, there are different ideas here, especially if you don't have the data available. So there's no component here, so you have to do it in a rough way. So let me show how I do it. So I looked here, there is no continent. So I'm gonna just go to my countries. Let's get back to this view here. So I know that this is Asia. Roughly speaking, I want to figure out the countries that are in Asia. All I have to do is just go ahead and create a selection by rectangle. And I'm going to create a rectangle here. And hopefully all these countries, except for Australia. So probably these are some of the countries. If I want to add to my selection, you can do that as well. How you do it? Go here to the word selection and selection options. Above it, you're going to find something called interactive selection method. And I want to add my current selection. So if I click here, if I select something else now, I'm going to start adding more countries to my selection of Asian countries. Here I selected Egypt. Egypt is in Africa. I want to remove Egypt from Africa. So I go here to my selection, interactive selection method. I want to remove this, so I'm going to remove Egypt. Is this all Asia? I don't know. Maybe there's a country that I left behind. Doesn't matter. Schema. Now I have selection. I can now create another color for this selection, new layer. And from this new layer, give it a brighter color. Now I have a key map of Asia. So again, here I'm going to use this select. I can use selection by attribute, by location. I'm going to do the next step. But I can just use my own selection by clicking on this select button and use some interactive selection, add to selected methods, selected items, and keep adding to your map. So probably here I haven't added this guy here. So I'm going to go here back again. So selection, add to current selection. I want to add these countries as well. All these probably are part of Asia. All these islands, Sri Lanka, Oman, UAE, Qatar. I can create a rectangle for all these countries. I can go ahead and select. And I can see some people here already in the selection and they create new layers with a more brighter color showing now the key map, showing just Asia. Once I'm done, I want to clear my selection. I can go ahead and click on the white button here. So now I highlighted Asian countries. And if I put a few more countries from Europe by state, I can remove from my selection. Later on, and this comes back to your question, Casey, I can add a new tab or a new field in my attribute table with continent in it. I can do that. Yeah, but it seems like you selected go last long. Yeah, go here to selection. And you want to go to selection of this option. And selection. Yes. So now here.
How do we like unselect this picture?
You're going to easy selection mode. Click on any country. Just click on any country. You go to selection. We have this selection method. You can click again for the new and this. You can add, move, or we can select from selection. Okay, guys. Let's move now to a really cool thing, which is number 4. So number 4, let's see what it is. So in the 4th frame, let's rename the 4th frame, and let's call it Germany and its neighbors. We're going to create a map that just selects where are the neighbors of Germany. We're going to do the following: zoom to Europe. So I'll do it one by one. So now I'm going to create, we need to add some layers to this 4th frame. So I'm going to go here to countries. I'm probably just going to need the countries. So I'm going to right click, copy the new data frame, paste, and also the background, copy, and paste. And the lat long, copy, and paste. And I'm going to call this Germany and neighbors. And don't forget to make this new frame the active frame. So now we're working on number 4, this guy here. First step, zoom to Europe. So in data view, I'm going to zoom here to Europe. And now I want to highlight Germany and its neighbors. Germany and its neighbors with a new technique, not the new selection here. And we're going to make use now of some attributes, some locations, some spatial work here. So select by location, select and show all countries that surround Germany. Let me show you what I mean here by selection by location. So if you go to selection here, the second one is selection by location. Here we're going to do some spatial selection. You can select something that's in something, something that's outside of something. You can do lots of selection based on 2 layers. So first of all, let's grab Germany, take it out, put it in a layer by itself, and then let's find its neighbors. So I'll do this with you guys. So I'm going to go here. Let's close this first. This is Germany. This is Germany. So I'm going to select Germany. Just going to make here under selection, make this the only selectable layer, clear. So I'm going to select Germany and then right click, create layer from this selected. So this is just Germany. And now we have a layer called Germany and a layer called the world. I want now just to select the countries that surround Germany using another way that we call here selection by location. So let's see what I want to do here. So selection, select by location. So I want to select features from, it's going to ask me, select features from which layer? I want to select features from countries. From which layer? From Germany. That does what? And I have here different options. I'm going to read some of these options. Intersect the source layer feature. They intersect together. Number 2, intersect in 3D or within a distance. Contain, completely contain. So if you have a country or a city inside a country, you can do that. So let's keep looking here, and you can see here the last one are crossed by the outline of the source layer feature. So there's a line between them. So choose this one here. are crossed, or the other one here maybe, share a line segment with the source layer feature. So there's a line between them, which is the borders between Germany and all its neighbors. You can do that. So it does a selection now based on location. It's inside, it sets away from it 5 miles. So you can do lots of powerful tools here, selecting features that have some spatial relationship with Germany. In my case here, share the border. So click OK. Click apply, and now I select all the countries that share a border with Germany. I see some people lost. What's wrong? So remove the selection. Okay. Did you select Germany? So now make go to countries and right click. Countries, first countries, right click. Under selection, make it the only sector layer. It's now only sector layer. Go to selection, validation. You want countries that go with Germany and they share the okay. I don't know. I don't know what to do. Maybe you select something extra by clicking something extra. So now you have the countries that share the border with Germany. Again, you can do the same. Right click, create a new layer. You can create as much layers as you can. Give it another color, and this will be frame number 4. And don't forget, guys, to remove the selection, add an appropriate title, call it Germany, and neighbors of Germany, north arrow, midline, the scale, and again, add a legend that shows the names of these countries. And that's the new thing. So here we have the countries. I'm going to make a layer out of it. So I'm going to choose here neighbors. Let's name it neighbors. And just for the sake of showing off here, I'm going to make these neighbors with different beautiful colors, with different ranges here. So under categories, I'm going to give it a nice ramp, keep the default ramp, add all values, and apply. So I give different colors of different countries surrounding Germany. And now let's get back to my layout view. I can now start adding a legend and the neighbors. Let's just make one little change here. I'm going to go to properties again. I'm going to put different names of the countries under my symbology and then create a legend for that.
Add all values together.
That's why.
So you create countries and name it Germany. So let me look at the attribute table that we created here. So let's see. So we're able to create now a layer of these countries. Okay, right. We'll create now symbology of these countries that we will create. So if you want to use a one page design, so you use this right, country name, add all values. Once you add all values, that's all. Yeah, sure. Okay, just use one color right now, because you need to fix it. No, no, just use one color. Just one color.
Do you think it's right where I did?
No. What happened to me, and I had to delete it and do it again. Yeah, I had to do it the same way. And don't ask me why. I don't know. So make this new layer that you create and do it again, because for me it also give me the whole world again. Okay guys, frame number 5. Frame number 5 will be easy. You already did something similar, so I'm gonna let you do it. In the 5th frame, do the following. You wanna zoom to North America. Select cities that have population, you have a layer that just have cities in North America, US, I'm sorry, that have population 5 million to 10 million. And use symbology again, create a graduated symbol for these cities that are between 5 to 10 million cities only. Uh-oh. Oh, I forgot that calculation.
Yeah, that's later. US. Earlier we did that. So right now.
Yep. But that's not, you're gonna select by attribute application. You run the cities that have cities that have population. By go to selection, select by attribute. And then over here, select population. On the population. Yeah, didn't use population factor 7. And we want it to be less than greater than 75, less than. Yes. Yeah. So all these layers, guys, that you created point to the same data set. Later on, you will learn how to create a new data set from your selected data. What we did is just, and that's why I created some issues, even with my map, because I wanted to color it all the whole world, and still have a problem here. I had to fix it somehow. Because it points to the same data set the whole world. Later on, I'm going to teach you how to create a new data set, a new table, a new set of data that just points to your selection, one that you want to focus on. It's only in Europe, yeah? Yeah.
right?
I noticed that, yeah, Europe, yeah. I thought we had more multi-million population deaths, like cities in the US. Seems like only here. I thought LA. Population and population have to tell and what? Oh. Probably, right? You only have to, so it seems, guys, just going to be New York City that will have the population I mentioned here. Yeah, I'm recording this. Yes. I'm calling all my labs. Already. So again, due to the way where these countries are, right? Okay. And go to the degrees and choose the name of the country. Yeah. And get you could select the values and control the whole world. So just put here add values. And one by one you can use control and here are all the countries that surround probably because you're pointing to the whole world. Click OK, choose the red color with the rank right. Right. Okay. So if you add a legend, it will show these countries. Okay, guys. I know you can't do you can move it towards your map. Okay guys, using the same skills we learned today, I have a very short homework that's due Thursday, not Friday because you have your midterm, so let's make it Thursday. Also the same way, show me what country is located within Italy. And I think the most 5 highest polluted countries in the world using the same techniques that we learned here. So again, you can create 2 frames, one frame of Italy, one frame of the world, and this will be your homework to be due on Thursday. Using the same techniques, and it will be a really good exercise for you to treat for next week's midterm. the latter. So once you're done, guys, go ahead and export this map as a PDF, and this is what you need to upload today, the map of these 5 nice, beautiful states. And if you're done that, guys, have a great weekend, enjoy it. The weather will be hot this weekend, so have fun. Be safe, most importantly, be safe. And see you Tuesday. I'll make sure that I have my my GIS page on my computer. I'm gonna have a revision on Tuesday over Zoom. If it didn't work on my computer, I'll be doing the lab, so no problem. I'll be ready to answer any questions you might have over Zoom. And we're gonna do this thing on Thursday, and on Friday we're gonna have our midterm of GIS.